Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, November 19th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect intermittent clouds and a high of 80 degrees in San Antonio today. The coronavirus pandemic is far from over, but a group of Texas health experts is already looking forward, recommending that the state prepare for future health crises by improving data collection, expanding access to healthcare, and building a reserve force of Texans. Republican state lawmakers have filed bills to codify the Texas Supreme Court decision that blocked Harris County from sending mail ballot applications to all 2.4 million registered voters. We have what you need to know about the bills at expressnews.com. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. Amazon plans to open a Northside facility to make last-mile deliveries to customers in the area. The company's proposed warehouse would total 141,360 square feet, according to a recent presentation to the City Zoning Commission. Attorney Ashley Fairmont told commissioners more about the plan for the site near San Antonio International Airport. The facility would create at least several hundred new jobs, she said. A site plan shows a large parking lot for delivery vans and drivers, as well as other parking spaces for warehouse employees. Madison Eisler's latest story lays out how the plan would affect traffic in the area and what happens next. Some of San Antonio's healthcare workers could get vaccinated against COVID-19 in as soon as 3 weeks. The city unveiled Wednesday a group of 60 organizations, which includes medical providers, faith-based groups, and community organizers, to guide Metro Health in its attempt to educate Bexar County residents about how important it is to get the COVID-19 vaccine once it's available. The first efforts include hosting virtual town halls to answer residents' questions about the vaccine, which comes as anti-vaccine sentiment has swelled across the nation in recent years. We have everything you need to know about a COVID-19 vaccine timeline in San Antonio over at expressnews.com. 5 years ago, David Green, the district attorney of the 69th District in the northwestern Texas Panhandle, started a pretrial diversion program. The proceeds from the program, more than $1 million, have gone to Meals on Wheels, Safe Place, the YMCA, and more. There's only one problem. Green's program appears to violate Texas law. A number of people in the community have known or suspected as much, but stayed mum, a testament to how many have benefited. Eric Dexheimer explains how a several $1,000 donation can make your drug charges disappear and why the arrangement might not be legal. Columnist Elena Ayala writes, quote, U.S. Latinos, whose diversity caught pollsters and political campaigns off guard in November, may disagree on politics and presidents, but they aren't likely to disagree on a National Latino Museum. For decades, Latino leaders have taken steps forward to create the National Museum of the American Latino, only to take several steps back. The promise remains for a Smithsonian Latino Museum equal to the others on the National Mall, where it must join them. Ayala's latest column is all about the effort to make that museum a reality. Find out where the museum's legislation stands over at expressnews.com. Check out our interactive map of San Antonio coronavirus testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. Use it to find the site closest to you by entering your address. Select a circle to find out more about a location, including if it's appointment only and if it has drive-through testing. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. As the rest of the nation battles the worst wave of the coronavirus pandemic yet, the virus's grip on San Antonio continued to tighten Wednesday, but not at the levels that are soaring in other communities. 366 new COVID-19 cases were reported on Wednesday. The COVID-19 crisis has prompted the university health system to plan on hiring more temporary nurses for the anticipated surge and to provide additional services for victims of family violence, which officials say has increased significantly during the pandemic. Nearly 70 members of the Texas House of Representatives called on the state Wednesday to take steps towards canceling the annual STAR tests in the spring of 2021, citing the disruption of the novel coronavirus pandemic. San Antonio's Police Oversight Board lacks the authority, investigative powers, and proper funding to effectively review citizen complaints or bring about meaningful reform, according to a study released Wednesday. A state district judge in Austin granted defense motions Wednesday, roping a Medina County man and an unknown John Doe into two ongoing lawsuits over a deliberately set apartment fire that killed 5 people in San Marcos in 2018. San Antonio musician Max Baca, the leader of the Grammy Award-winning band Los Tex Maniacs, is hospitalized with COVID-19 and says he's fighting for his life. The founder and senior pastor of San Antonio's Cornerstone Church, John Hagee, tested positive for COVID-19 in early October. On Sunday, he took part in the megachurch's worship services. Quote, "We have a vaccine, the name is Jesus Christ," he said. CPS Energy's chief executive said Wednesday that the city-owned utility owes too much money on its newer coal-fired power plant unit to commit to closing it this decade, a move that some activist groups are demanding. U.S. Representative Will Hurd said the federal cybersecurity official President Donald Trump fired after he shot down the president's claims of fraud should have been rewarded, not dismissed. Texas colleges have begun laying out plans for the spring semester, and with the COVID-19 pandemic still going strong, many schools have decided to scrap a major college tradition out of caution: spring break. The state will use $420 million in CARES Act funding to reimburse Texas school districts for laptops and mobile Wi-Fi hotspots they purchased to help students with remote learning, Governor Greg Abbott announced Wednesday. The Del Rio News-Herald became the latest Texas newspaper to be silenced by the coronavirus pandemic. It printed its final edition Wednesday. About 10 Texas papers closed this year and 30 more reduced publication. The 2 runoff elections for seats on the Alamo College District Board of Trustees will take place on December 12th, the district announced on Wednesday. We have everything you need to know about those races over at expressnews.com. After at least 18 months of political turmoil and finger-pointing, Leon Valley seated 2 new city council members elected on November 3rd who promised to listen to citizens' concerns and try to work together amicably in full transparency. On Wednesday, after backlash from teachers, activists, and community members, the Harlandale Independent School District reinstated Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a school holiday. The district will add a day to the end of the school year to compensate. The State Board of Education is inching closer to approving new sex education standards for the first time since the late 90s, giving initial approval on Wednesday to a curriculum that expanded contraceptive education in middle schools but declined to acknowledge LGBTQ individuals or define consensual sexual activity. For many like Devani Gonzalez, a 24-year-old paralegal, the election ousting President Donald Trump meant the end of years of worry, threats of deportation, and being the target of abuse. A core base of Trump supporters stood by his immigration policies, which brought increased enforcement, and his vitriol, which made life more difficult for both immigrants and people in the country illegally. "We've been attacked over and over and over and over again," said Gonzalez, who now hopes to achieve a permanent legal status under a Biden presidency. Gonzalez is among the so-called dreamers, those brought into the country illegally when they were children, their hopes threatened under the Trump administration. You can read more about her story over at expressnews.com. Tucked in the corner of a nondescript industrial park just over the fence from the airport, Cruising Kitchens is using eye-popping graphics, state-of-the-art electronics, and reality TV razzle-dazzle to update and energize the food truck industry. It's one of the country's biggest food truck builders, having outfitted Whataburger, Raising Cane's, and Tiff's Treats. Gene Jackal has your guide to 12 TV shows new and old to watch this holiday season, from the new dark Black Narcissus to the classic Charlie Brown holiday specials. A Mexico-based Brazilian steakhouse named Bovino's Churrascaria has chosen San Antonio as a home for its first location in the United States. Express News staff writer David Hinojosa sets up the San Antonio area's high school football weekend and has a preview of the 5A and 6A volleyball playoffs. And that's all for today. This was your Express briefing for Thursday, November 19th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.